Cool. So, hopefully, I can already see a problem here. I can hear myself. Right, let me figure out how to mute myself. It would help if I didn't have YouTube and Twitch open as I'm streaming. Lovely. Okay, I think I am live then. Okay. Yep, lovely. That looks like it's working as far as I can tell. Hey, I can see some people saying hello in chats as well, which is lovely. I am very, very new to this and figuring it all out, but it's all going more or less how the YouTube tutorial said it should. So, I think without further ado, we can get started. Hello. Cool. So I'm more or less going to be talking to myself to an extent. Obviously, if anyone has any questions, please let me know, and I will run through whatever answer I have if I have one. So as you've probably seen in the thumbnail, any of the posts that I made for this, I am animating my next Drawfee animation, which is going to be the notorious, infamous, demonic Edge of Tomorrow clip. At the moment I am doing this clip, which I'll show you. I'll just check that the desktop audio is up, which it should be.
Get in the car.
We're going to movies.
Actually, what I've done as well, I'm gonna start flexing a bit here, is I've put a few different overlays on the stream, so hopefully I should be able to, I'm just keeping an eye out on my phone where I'm watching myself to see if the overlays work, but hopefully, yeah, so I've got like a little kind of avatar in the bottom right, as you can see, and about a minute ago when I clicked it, I made him say hello. And another thing which I'm gonna do, which I didn't write down the number for, which is very clever of me, is do a bit of a show and tell. So, what I'm going to do is just play a clip of where I've got to so far with the animation, and then that way you can kind of see more or less where we're kind of we're at in terms of the animation process. And of course, it's a nice little sneak preview of where we're at.
To Dan, my brain was like, I know that's a Pokemon, but I don't remember which one it is.
It's one of the Pikachus.
That name describes nothing.
You'll have to let me know in the chat, by the way, if the
Pikachu,
audio is okay on
Pikachu is
both my account and
that's
the
the roundest.
media.
That's the roundest.
Oh.
I really liked that movie,
Yeah.
but I found the
Go ahead.
sci-fi part a little confusing. It was the one with Tom Cruise.
Are you making an Edge of Tomorrow joke?
Yeah.
Out of Toga Damaru?
It's a reach, but okay.
The way that Nathan said it had the same beat as Edge of Tomorrow.
Right.
Hey kids, let's go see Togedemaru. The Tom the Cruise and the Togedemaru.
Tom the Cruise.
Tom de Cruise.
Dad, stop.
Dad, you're being weird
Just
again.
Just say the title of the movie right, or
Stop it to what? What did you mean?
Cool, and that is where we're at so far with that. Oh, lovely. Just seeing in a couple of chats that the audio is working. I think that's everyone from Twitch, though. I've got an app which supposedly shows all of the different places it's streaming. So it looks like it's working on Twitch. Just double check that the audio is working over on YouTube as well. Hey, lovely. Cool. So yeah, what I'm doing at the minute, and I don't know how much I'm going to kind of go into detail of every minute kind of aspect of this animation, but a lot of what I'll be doing is kind of re-listening to the same bits over and over again. I'm sure I'll get more. Oh, good, YouTube's working as well. Thanks, Exploser. I'm sure I'll get into a better habit of not kind of commentating over everything, or more naturally kind of, I guess, narrating as I go. But obviously this is new to me, but it's cool, and it's nice to see different people watching. I was going over it this afternoon, how I was going to kind of talk over this process for about an hour if I didn't have anyone watching. I was just thinking, like, right, I could list some questions to myself, or I could just kind of, I could start the animation from the beginning and show everyone, and then just literally walk through it step by step. But I'm glad I didn't have to do that, because I didn't prepare, so that's good. So at the moment, current scene.
Get in the car.
We're going to movies.
The last thing to do in this little clip is make sure that Karina is laughing and actually sort out the lip sync as well. And that would be a nice thing to talk about, actually, because that's something I've always been, I don't know if it's proud or certainly interested in, kind of lip sync aspect of this. It feels a bit more of a duty at this point. I've tried animating without as kind of accurate lip syncs, and it just feels wrong. I don't know, there's something about it that just kind of feels, I don't know, and this obviously isn't, slagging off anyone else that doesn't do kind of frame by frame lip syncing, but it just doesn't feel like my style, I guess, at this point. So that's something I kind of try and adhere to. So what I've done is soloed out Karina's mouth layer down here in the bottom right, or in the bottom, and then that way I can just really focus on the sound that she's making and make sure that the lip sync's working.
Get in the car.
So first thing you can hear there is her laughing here. Again, it's not something that I would normally talk over, but in this case it makes more sense too, so we'll see if I can do that at the same time. This is always going to be a bit of a process of figuring out what I can actually do whilst streaming and what I need to keep kind of off the chat, I guess. So
We're going to
yeah, and I've had people ask before in the other kind of behind the scenes video that I did. They asked about the kind of lip sync and how I sort that out. It's something that I have had since, I think, I redesigned all of the characters, I think April last year when I got some new software. But beyond that, I've pretty much used the same mouths for the majority of my Bim Bam Man Drawfee animations. So I'll run through them. But essentially each face or each emotion or each character has 8 different mouth shapes mainly. So we've got the teeth closed, the open mouth, closed mouth, O, oo, closed mouth but slightly more tightly closed. So we've got that, and then actually if I grab it here it goes straight to it. So we go 1, and then you can see it kind of closes a bit firmer. An F shape or a V shape, kind of teeth on lips shape, and then a tongue to the top of your mouth shape. And yeah, I can use any of these to make any, well, usually any stream of sounds, which is quite nice. If anyone's looking for kind of advice on how to kind of figure that out, it really, when I first made these, really was just a case of looking in a mirror and just kind of really thinking. It's something as well about the way that I animate probably isn't the correct way to animate, or like the kind of academically correct way to animate. It really is a lot of just kind of going by vibe, going by general feeling. So as long as it kind of feels like the way that a real human would do it, then that's, I guess, the kind of process. So in this case, Karina is saying,
We're going to movies.
go to the movies. And then that is as simple as starting with closed mouth, going, going to the... You can kind of hear there's a bit of a kind of carrying of the M, maybe a bit more than you naturally expect. But and the problem I've realised there is because Karina moves in the actual animation, so does the mouth, so that might make it a little bit trickier to do it up close. But another thing I didn't think about, but thinking about it now probably makes sense, is I imagine the stream, both for Twitch and YouTube, is maybe a little bit out of sync, so I don't know if the audio is going to line up with kind of what you see on the screen. But if it doesn't, that's a lovely excuse for me not doing it properly on stream anyway.
We're going to movies.
Yeah, so that's more or less what we're looking for.
We're going to movies.
Cool. Thank you, Flying Raisin, for saying the audio lines up. I wish it didn't at this point, but I'm glad to know that's working.
We're going to movies.
Yeah, that's a little bit off, but I think realistically it's maybe something I won't do on streams in the future because it is a little bit tedious. There was a clip from the previous one that I did, which I shortened down to about 15 seconds, but took about 20 minutes, I think, for about 10 seconds worth of audio for one person. So.
Get in the car.
We're going to movies.
Cool. Just have a look at the chat because I've got it on a tiny app which only shows me one message at a time. Yeah, I think the lip sync works really well with the animating too. Thank you, Flying Raisin. Hi Beth, happy birthday. And each animation, it depends. It's usually about, I tend to give them about a week each for these, about 1 or 2 minutes long. It's a lot quicker for these ones than anything else that I do because, I already have these kind of assets ready. So for example, if we went right to the start of the animation, we've got Jacob there. We can go into a library, go for all these different ones, and obviously in this case, look at Drawfee, and if we wanted to drop Cordwell into the animation, it's literally as simple as dragging him over, and he's there. And then he's there with all of his kind of skeleton and all the different mouth shapes ready. So when I'm using the Mabim characters or the Drawfee characters, yeah, it probably takes about a week. So I'm lucky enough to be doing this full time now. So it's taken whatever 9 to 5 is 5 days a week. So about 40 hours ish to do 1 to 2 minutes. If it's something else though, so the Dimension 20 ones, for example, that obviously involved creating the characters from scratch as well, and because they're all different styles of drawing, essentially it's a little bit more difficult for me because if they're all round-headed bobbleheads like the rest of my animations, then I'm sure we'd be fine, and I'm sure I'd be able to crack it out in a week again. But no, with those it probably takes 2 to 3 weeks, depending on the audio and depending on I guess the plans that I have for it. Sometimes I am a bit more ambitious for my own good. Sometimes they're generally quite simple, but yeah, just kind of varies. But I will say as well, since I moved to Toon Boom and had all this kind of, all these tools for having skeletons and having all these different mouth shapes and eye shapes kind of stored in a library, they probably took me about a month each one, so it's a lot nicer obviously using this using this software. Cool. Thank you everyone for being here for this. This is a lot more engagement than I thought, to be honest. I was genuinely expecting there to be no one here. So to the 17 of you over on Twitch and 14 over on YouTube, thanks for hanging out with me. This is Summit.
Get in the car.
I'm not getting much animation done, so I'll try and fix that. So with Karina here, you can kind of see the car roof opens up and she says going to the movies.
Get in the
I've
car.
already done some of the animation of her kind of hunching forwards, leaning onto the dashboard so she can actually poke her head out. A bit of kind of motion, a bit of anticipation, and then popping her head out there. So what we want really is when she's leaning forward for her face to move down. This is realistically, if these animations take me about a week, I think the process of just moving each of the characters' heads forwards and then backwards probably takes about half of that. Hey TMN ASMR, thanks for dropping in. And whilst it seems on kind of, I can't think of the word, but whilst I'm thinking of it, a fun bit of trivia is that this channel, or not this one that you're actually watching on, but DeeperBlueInk actually started off as an ASMR channel. If if for any reason there is anyone still engaged by the content I make after it started off literally as an ASMR channel back at uni, then thanks for sticking around. But yeah, just a nice bit of trivia there that it used to be an ASMR channel for whatever reason. Yeah, the colours, I really don't think there was much logic to it. It might have been, so I mean back when, hold on, let's go back to the cinema and let me load up the first one that had these colours. The short answer for the Drawfee characters is that I think I was basically trying to oh, thank you Blue, that's very nice to hear. For the Drawfee questions, for the Drawfee characters, I don't think there was any real reason for the colours other than I wanted to avoid green, and I kind of wanted to keep Griffin as the only green character. I think, to be honest, it might have just stemmed from the fact that all of the characters that I create usually start off as Griffin as a template, which is, again, maybe a bit weird. Hold on, gone off track again. What was I looking for? So the first one I did of the McElroys, where they're more or less, what they look like now. I think this is the actual animation. This might not be the final one that I showed. Cool. Let me move that slightly. So yeah, this was the first animation I did where the brothers more or less look like the designs that I have them as now. Yes, I have an ongoing joke that Griffin is the template for all human beings at the minute, and it's starting to become a mental illness that I'm just seeing Griffin everywhere. But yeah, no, this was the first vague kind of, I guess, DeeperBlueInk-esque style video that I did. The reason why I actually kind of followed this look, I was looking for something, I guess, cartoony and something easily that I could replicate. It sounds daft, but it was actually the YouTube analytics for this one. I think this is the third animation I did of the McElroys, and the first two were a bit closer to, I guess, the kind of Louis Zong style, the Louis Zong style kind of black and white look. In this one,
Did you guys know if you Google 120 something
Cool.
hours to figure out the
Okay,
name
so
of
this
the
doesn't
Google
work as well as I
search
thought it
result,
did.
you'll find out it's
But
127
yeah,
hours.
so this
You'll
was.
see the top Google question, which is Aaron Ralston's
I think
arm still
this is
there?
the third one I did actually of my Bim Bam.
I love that. I love the idea of
because we
park
started
rangers,
with
like, one, like, they're
the
just,
Dead
like, two
Mouse
of them
one, and that
standing
was really
under a
just a
view
case of me
looking up
wanting
at
to
his
see
arm, just like, fuck,
if it
I'm
was
gonna
something
take
people would be interested in. And then I did the Wendy's one just because it was one of the first episodes that I listened to of my Bim Bam and really enjoyed that particular bit. Really kind of saw the obvious kind of animation in it. And then yeah, this one I did third. I was really, really pleased with this, really proud of it, and really happy with how it kind of turned out. And then I did like a 20-second, 30-second one, which was the Ghost Tour. The Ghost Tour animation, and I guess there was something about the colours or the style or the kind of... I honestly think it was just kind of adding a bit of colour, but the YouTube analytics told me that it was getting about like 5 times as many people actually clicking on it and wanting to watch it, and I thought, people obviously like it. I kind of owned it, and yeah, I guess I didn't actually answer the question. In terms of colours, Griffin's green because green is nerdy in my mind, and Griffin wore glasses. Travis was bigger than the others, so that made him red, which is the strong, angry colour. And then Justin was yellow because yellow looked better than blue. And I didn't want to use any weird colours. I guess I just don't have an answer. I guess I've spent the last 10 minutes trying to come up with a reason, and the answer is there isn't really one. But yeah, I think I get quite a lot of people asking if there's a reason why I coloured the Drawfee people the way I did, and I do wonder if there's like a reason that I'm just not aware of. I took the kind of prototype designs that I had for the Drawfee characters and actually checked with Patreon first, because I really wanted to make an animation of Drawfee, but I didn't actually know many Drawfee bits. I'd listened to them a little bit, and I keep seeing them kind of pop up every now and then, so I actually made a post on Patreon just saying, is there anyone here that knows Drawfee quite well? Anyone have any kind of bits that they think would be good for animating? And yeah, I don't know who it was off the top of my head, but someone suggested the VTube of it, and it was obviously very funny, very good. So yeah, that went quite well. But I kind of dropped a very quick kind of doodle with all of them on what they thought of the designs, and they told me that Julia's was slightly off because I'd given her like a kind of full ponytail, I think, and then they said, oh, actually she might be more known for having kind of undercut. Sent that back, they said go for that, and yeah, I've got a few nice comments on their designs. So yeah, if there's a funny reason why they are coloured the way they are coloured, I don't know it, feel free to let me know. I'll just have a look at the chat. I think Karina said maroon is her favourite colour, so red Caesar. Lovely. Yeah, that wasn't intentional. And yeah, Griffin is everyone at this point. For example, actually, if you look in the columns, you can see each layer starts with the letter G, and that is G for Griffin. All of these characters, I think, started off as Griffin and then kind of warped one at a time. Genuinely, I think even the other brothers are Griffin clones at this point. So if we take Justin, certainly when I first made Justin and Travis, their layers started with J and T. Oh yeah, no, so you can see Justin is still the original, but no, I think everyone else at this point, other than those two. Oh, of course, sorry. Yeah, that's my fault. I am still on the wrong one. I knew that was going to happen at some point. Cool, we're back here. Thank you, Flying Raisin. So, yeah, you can see here in the bottom left there, all of the layers begin with G. So we've got G eyebrows, G eyes, and that G stands for Griffin, because when I first put all of these rigs together, the idea was I would have the letter at the start of each of their names, and then that way, yeah, you'd see, or I'd be able to see whilst I was making it which brother I was actually on. I still should do that. Realistically, that's something that I certainly need to fix, or if I remake all of the characters, something I would change next time, because I do spend a lot of time shifting between layers, not sure where I am.
Get in the car.
So at the moment, you can see all of the layers in this animation. It's probably about 20 of them, but this is all of them closed down. So if I opened up all of them, there is a good chunk of them. Maybe a few hundred, I would guess, but yeah, because all of them say G at the start. I have no idea who I'm looking at most of the time, which isn't great. Hey, nice to see you. So yeah, right.
Get in the car.
I've been distracted again, but what am I doing? So we're going to lean Karina's head forward as she kind of anticipates jumping up to the top of the car. With these as well, with the layers, you've got kind of groups and then what they call kind of pegged layers. So the ones that are kind of in together under a peg move together. The group ones are more for just keeping things tidy, the way I use them, or using kind of different effects across them. So all of the eyebrows, eyes, mouth and glasses are all in the face, which makes things a little bit easier. So just set up a keyframe there, move a head forward. Again, just kind of add a bit of anticipation as well. We're going to scrunch her face up a little bit. So I think, yeah, like that. And then, yeah, as she moves up towards the top of the car, we're going to raise the eyebrows, because something I've been doing throughout this animation is when they're speaking in their dad voice, they've got very kind of open expressions, just because I think it's funny. I think that's the problem. I'm going to get to a point where I'm trying to like over-explain everything, and the answer truly is just think it's funny. It's just what I decided to do in the moment. So scrunch the head forward. What I tend to do as well, and I probably don't need to all of the time, but as well as moving the face forward, I'll be quite thorough, and I'll move the hair down like this, except the ears are poking out a bit. Move the ears up. You can see they're poking behind the fringe here, which I need to fix in a sec. And move the hair up as well, and then that way it just kind of adds a bit more to the depth of... I need to move the back a little bit more, actually. Just kind of adds to the depth of the actual motion. It's how I kind of do most facial expressions. It kind of adds a nice bit of, I guess, 3D depth, or kind of, I don't know, don't want to say immersion. The problem as well, and if you stick around for many of these animation live sessions, or whatever I've called it, animating live, I have no qualifications in animation. I've never, I've not had any kind of no training. It's really all just been YouTube tutorials, and I didn't really like art as a kid throughout school, so I didn't do anything artsy at school or college. I did a management degree at uni, which has obviously got me far, and then decided to follow up my hobby as it became a bit more sustainable, which is thanks to all of you, actually, so thank you for that. But yeah, anyway, off the tangent. So we want the ears to move in a little bit. If I was being proper, I would fix the fringe, actually, so that the fringe makes more sense that way, but I'm just going to do the easy thing instead, which is this. So she's kind of leaned her head forward like that. And then we want the whole head to kind of move up in line with the rest of what she's doing. So forwards and out like that. Haven't done anything with the head either, and that's another kind of easy way of making micro movements to add to the kind of just the general movement of the whole process, which is what we're after. So I saw a lot of people comment as well on the previous video. There's a lot of micro movements in what I do, which all just kind of adds up, and yeah, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. But a lot of the time it just kind of adds to the, I guess, the whole kind of fluidity of it, which is what we're looking for in the end. Hey Anna, and hey for message to the person that said early reading to you. And I haven't been doing this yet, but I am just going to start using the overlays a bit more as people say hello and people move in. I've got like 8 or 9 different overlays that I've worked on over the last couple of days just to add to these streams, I guess. So I've got a welcome over there. I've got a thank you, which I haven't been using, that I definitely should have been using all this time because there's been some very nice comments. Something as well I've got, which I'm sure I will be making use of later, is the going AFK screen as I've put it here, and then as soon as I'm back, I just kind of come back like that. Hello. I really thought, as I was kind of preparing this, I was like, right, I'm gonna really be keeping an eye on the chats and see what people are doing and saying, and I can like respond to it. I'll have like an animation where it's someone saying thank you, and I'll use it all the time. I completely forgot. I just kind of lost on a tangent. So yeah, you either get me talking, me animating, or me remembering to read the chat. But there's a lot of love in the chats for these, so thank you to everyone for those nice words. Am I thinking of doing these kind of streams often? I really don't know. I first of all wanted to get a feeling for how easy I guess it was to stream, and once I figured out that I'd scheduled the wrong place on YouTube, more or less, other than that, it's been fairly straightforward, so that's always good. One thing I have very quickly realised, and I'm sure a lot of you have realised too in the half an hour I've been animating, is that I'm not going to get a lot of work done, so it's maybe more going to be a case of show and tell rather than well, I guess I could easily have it kind of running in the background. It really depends what people are after. If, you know, people want this kind of more interactive back and forth like we're doing at the minute, then yeah, I can do that easily, but it's not going to get a lot of work done. If people are interested in just watching me animate, and I literally, you know, don't have the mic on and don't engage more or less with the chat other than a quick hello every now and then, I can do that as well. Yeah, I'll just kind of see how I go. I think at the minute I'm thinking probably once a week. I'm likely to do them early on in the week, and then that way if I'm falling behind by the time I'm looking to upload on Friday or Saturday, I've got time that I can kind of you know, push myself and crack on with what I'm doing. Yeah, I think that probably stands to reason at the minute. I'll probably do it weekly on Mondays for the time being. And we'll see how we go. Yeah, and thank you for turning up, everyone, because I'm not sure where everyone's from, but I was trying to figure out what the best time of day was to stream this for both, you know, the American audience, which I'm mainly engaging with. According to YouTube, I think about 60% of you, or something like that, are American. And I spent a lot of the last week Googling what the difference between EST and PST was. But yeah, I think this is probably the best time of day for me. Hey, nice one, Flying Raisin. My neck of the woods. I'm from the UK, if anyone didn't know or guessed by my voice. So it's a bit later in the day over here, but I think it's still a nice kind of time of day in my general working day, so you can have a look at what I'm doing. It might be one of these that I do like a kind of more communal stream like this on Mondays, where I kind of, as I say, kind of show and tell, talk about what I'm doing and what the process is like, and then maybe on a Thursday or on a Wednesday I'll stream, but I just won't speak. I'll just have the mic off and just show. Oh yeah, that's a good idea, Beth. Where's everyone? Where's everyone based? And thank you to everyone in America who is here during this early hour of the day. Oh God, 1 a.m. Thank you for being here, AirPods. But yeah, hopefully I can move about the times as well and figure out when works best for everyone else. But also it kind of lines up with when the animations usually went live. So yeah.
Get in the car.
We're going to movies.
So, I was obviously talking over myself earlier, but oh yeah, I should say as well, one thing I'm doing. Oh, that looks like a bit of spam in the Twitch chat. I don't think that's right. Hold on, let me see if I can delete comments. Can you delete comments? No, I have no idea how to work anything. I should say I'm watching the chats on a app that shows both my chats from Twitch and from YouTube. So if I'm like responding to something and you're thinking like he's going mad, there's nothing in the chat about that, it's probably because I'm talking about the other one. Yeah, I have no idea how to run either of these, so I might at some point look up a video on how to work chats and how to be a mod. But until then, we're all gonna have to put up with the person offering people to buy followers and prime and viewers in the Twitch chat. There must be a way of deleting that. A settings button. Okay, never mind. We'll all have to deal with it. Anyway.
Get in the car. Get in the car.
That might be a good idea, White Rose. Sorry, one thing I realised I did as well, which I should have done differently, is I had Karina laugh a bit earlier than I expected, and realistically she should be leaning forwards into the laugh for that. So I'm just going to move this further up the timeline, and then hopefully, yeah, that kind of lines up a bit nicer. So we've listened to that.
We're going to movies.
What I might do though, because she moves her arms up and moves her head up a little bit, is I'm just going to change that a little bit, just leans back slightly, and then that way it kind of again leads into the fluidity of the moment. Do. You could set your Twitch category to art. Yep, if I figure out what categories are on Twitch, I will do that. It's one of these where I, to be honest, don't watch a huge amount of Twitch either, so I'm fairly in the dark in general about these. I've been watching more of them over the last couple of months because I've had this idea of watching stuff live or doing stuff live. I thought it'd be only right that I know what I'm actually looking at if I do something like this. So, just gonna add a bit of anticipation there. So yeah, you can see her ears and hair moves, but the rest of her doesn't. Just gonna add the keyframes there. I think really for the bigger movement we want the whole body to move a little bit. See how that looks? Yeah, that looks a little bit better, I think.
Get in the car.
We're going to movies.
And yeah, to that end, if anyone has any suggestions for how I can run these a little bit better, a little bit more smoothly, or even stuff like, yeah, exactly, getting used to Twitch in general, please let me know, and don't worry about being like condescending. I really don't know anything, so any kind of any advice you have, please let me know. And yeah, genuinely an interactive stream I think would be really interesting as well. I've got, I'm sure I'll figure out a way of streaming Jackbox games and stuff like that. So that is definitely something I will look at doing as well at a different date.
Get in the car.
We're going to movies.
One thing I have realised I've did, the way that I run, the way that I animate at the moment is, you can see it's what's it called? It's on an OpenGL view, so this is essentially showing all of the different shapes. By the time it actually gets rendered, it will look like this. It just takes a second to render, but it adds all of the kind of blurred layers at a different date, or a different time, just a different day next week. The reason why you don't have that on all the time, as you can imagine, is it takes about 5 seconds to show each frame, and as you're animating, that doesn't make sense to show. But one thing it did make me realise is I'm spending all this time worrying about these minute details of how Karina's moving, but realistically, we're probably not going to see the smallest of movements, so I might have to change. There you go. I might change when the blur actually kicks in, I think.
Get in the car.
We're going to movies.
But yeah, that is more or less how I wanted that section to look. So I'm going to go to the end, or the last frame in that section. We'll cap it all off with a keyframe each. I think I said this before, but if you are a professional animator, please don't don't worry about the way I'm animating. I'm sure it's not the right way of doing it. It's just the way I've learned, and the habits I've gotten myself into, whether they're good or bad. By the way, for spam lashes, there should be a couple of icons to the left of the username. Cool. Oh, 1 second, guys. I'm just gonna go AFK for a sec, and I will be right back. Hello, I am back, hopefully. Oh yeah, let's use the button to show that I'm coming back. Hey, lovely. Yeah, sorry, I didn't run away because someone asked me if I was going to do a Drawfee, Drawtectives animation. I just need to take a call. But yes, I am also glad that I remembered to use the overlays. I'm glad that people are enjoying the overlays. I thought they were really sweet. Any plans to do Drawtectives? I'm planning on watching Drawtectives first. I've done the first. Yes, I would also like to figure out music as well. I know someone that might be able to help me with music, so I will figure out if I can pay them for that, because they're refusing to take money at the minute, which I'm not a fan of. Yeah, in terms of Drawtectives, I've watched these overlays, just me in the bottom right. Yeah, I have watched the first episode of Drawtectives, but with all of the college humour work I've been doing, I've been kind of overstimulated in terms of different actual play series. I've been getting into 4 or 5 different series a month, so I will get around to Drawtectives, and then at that point, if there's any interesting stuff, oh, thanks Tim, I will send me a message on whatever I'm on Twitter. Probably is best on my emails somewhere. I'll look at doing Drawtectives when I have an idea for what it's like. I've listened to the first episode and I love it, but I just haven't kind of got into it yet, and I want to really, I guess, be into it. The college humor stuff's absolutely amazing, and I've only got into it really since kind of April this year. Like, I always knew about college humor. It was always this right kind of corner of the internet, obviously being with or being into the McElroys. I'd watched the first episode of Tiny Heist, but yeah, since they approached me about animating bits and bobs for them, I've had my mind opened to all the different college humor stuff, and there is a lot to get into, which is there's a lot of different stuff to listen to, which I am currently working my way through. Okay, picks up after the first episode. Cool. Specific parts. Yeah, that's the thing. If anyone has specific moments they want animated, I guess Drawtective's slightly different because it's, as far as I can tell, it's a bit of a narrative, so I don't want anything spoiled ideally, but if there are any kind of world-class moments, then obviously let me know, and I'll give them a listen and add them to my ever-growing list of things I should animate. The first time I did a Drawfee animation, I pinned the comment asking for people to send me kind of suggestions, and I've still got 50 different clips that I need to get around to animating at some point. So the only thing left is the mouse, so I'll just delete that. I've finished that previous clip of Karina jumping out of the car. The next clip is going to be made out of this audio. So what I tend to do is I don't have storyboards for all of these. I just animate them as I go, each scene at a time. I don't know if there's a science to it. I think having done these more or less, weekly or fortnightly for the last 2 years, I guess you just get a sense for when there's an obvious pause in the joke or when the scene should change. Again, if I had more time, I'm sure it'd be better to storyboard it, but as it is, this is how we do it. So finish the previous scene, just kind of set it for about 20 seconds from now up here. So we'll have a listen to what the next bit is and pick the next obvious bit.
Top of the cruise, end of the blunt.
Dad, no!
Aliens.
Cool. Yes, I do remember listening to this bit now, so I think my plan for the next bit, and I have no idea if I'm going to have time to do this on stream, is I'm going to have
Top of the cruise, end of the blunt.
Nathan as a dad, as a dad. I'm gonna have mustached Nathan at some kind of red carpet event, and I'm gonna use the rigs for Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt that I used earlier on in the animation. Here, yeah, here. So I'm going to use those two rigs and have them, you know, at a red carpet event, and then Nathan Dad is going to jump up and badger them, I guess, kind of say like Tom the Cruise, Emily Blunt, and then at which point Karina will be embarrassed, mortified, also at the red carpet event.
Top of the cruise, end of the blunt.
Dad.
Cool. So you can see that little spike there is where she starts saying "Dad."
Dad.
So we're going to end the section there. And then now we know what we're working for next. Fantastic. Saw a Fortnite joke in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much, please goodness. It's such a funny moment. So I'm very glad that I am tuned into Drawfee now so I can animate bits like this.
Top of the cruise.
So it starts with Nathan breathing in, so that is going to be an obvious bit for him to kind of, I guess, breathe up into the shot, so he'll be below it and then breathe up into the shot quite nicely. I really don't know how much of this is going to be interesting to watch in a stream, so I might save this for another time, but what I'm thinking of doing is having, I'll tell you what, I'll sketch it out. What I'm thinking of doing is basically having them more or less in the center, like that, have Nathan kind of come up in from the middle, part them apart. Maybe they're like interlocked in arms as, you know, there are camera flashes happening wherever, and then let's say there'll be crowds behind them as well. Just make it an obvious red carpet event, and then that way I can have Julia in the background somewhere laughing as well, because it's been a while since I've actually shown Julia laughing. One thing I will say as well is if you are looking to get into animation and you're worried because you don't know how to draw, I have fun news for you. I do not know how to draw. I have never known how to draw. I have drawn each of these characters once and then animated them for about a year each, so I would fully recommend doing that if you get a chance. Thank you, Freya. I grew it myself. So
Top of the cruise, end of the blunt.
one thing I probably can do whilst we are on stream is if I grab Nathan from an earlier part in the video, make sure he's got a moustache. Like here, maybe not this one. Yeah, probably not this one because there's quite a lot of effects in this shot. So yeah, we'll go for this one. I think one of my favourite things as well about Drawfee is that they all just kind of jump on the same bit. Whereas like Mabim Bam, the McElroys are quite good at setting each other up and then setting in their own kind of roles, I guess. Like Travis quite often will play the straight man. Drawfee will all just kind of pile in on top of each other onto a joke. And from the animations that I've done, most of the time that joke is, God, isn't Jacob stupid? This is great. But yeah, so if nothing else, we can have Nathan kind of get ready. The problem as well is I would add the Tom Cruise and Emily Blunt rigs, but I did them in a different file, so I'll take a sec to set them up. So we will open up the skeleton like this. It shows all the different elements of his rig. Obviously we're not going to need to see his legs, which is, I think, probably on purpose for the majority of times that I animate. It's obviously a lot easier to just kind of show it waist up, and it's rare that it kind of adds to the comedy to show them walking or show them moving. I guess again that's part of the, someone described my animation style as Buster Keaton-esque, and I think that gives it far too much credit. But yeah, it's just going to be a case of making sure that the rig's right, and then throwing it up onto the screen where necessary. Cool. So I don't know if this will show up. No, it won't. Lovely. Sorry, the animation software just stopped responding for a second there, but I don't think it showed up on the stream, which is good because I am running this stream and all of my software off of a toaster, so it's just as well you can't see how often it tries to crash.
Okay.
Top of the cruise and
Okay.
Cool. So we're going to have him kind of burst up into the shot because there's no reason for him not to be right there from the beginning. And then, as I said, you can kind of hear him breathing in quite deeply. The hand is obviously janky at the minute, but shouldn't matter by the time that there are two people in front of him. What I'm hoping is I can have him move up onto screen in the entire time that he's breathing in, and then have the kind of movement of his head moving back and chest moving out to an extent.
Okay.
top of
One thing as well, which I don't know why it does this, I'm sure there's some very good logical reason why it does it, but sometimes Toon Boom will add an arc, so you can see the arc here, where it will just for some reason add a kind of shape of movement. It should just be linear. I've talked to their tech support about it and they said, we don't know why, but here's the fix. So you just need to click linear motion, and in that way it will just go from the bottom to the top, which is a lot nicer. One thing as well, which is, I don't want to say like a stylistic choice, but something that I certainly do quite a lot, is I ease in every movement. So actually, hold on, I'm just gonna go AFK again for 1 second. Hello, I am back. Sorry about that. My partner just came home from work, and I completely appreciate that this is a legitimate job, but there is nothing weirder than my girlfriend coming home from work and being like, "Hello, how's your day? Oh, lovely." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna go back and do my stream now. Okay, bye, bye," and like closing the door. But anyway, oh hey, Alien. That's probably butchered your name. I'm really sorry, but hey, nice to see you again. Yeah, so
Top of the crew.
as you can see at the minute, that is a linear movement. It is a lot nicer if you kind of have a bit of easing on it. You can open it up and kind of decide a percentage. If you want it to kind of slowly move in and then rush to the end, then you have the ease in smaller than the ease out, which you can see like that. It kind of juts by the end. If you want it to be fast to begin with, hey, fantastic. If you have it fast at the start and then slow at the end, you have it the reverse like this.
Top of the cruise and
it kind of floats up. But what I do for most movements is I have it kind of high on both, and then that way he kind of
top of the cruise and
I guess it's just a smoother linear movement, which works most of the time for these. What I did actually, which is really over the top, is I had the kind of process of clicking Control E and then clicking 80, clicking Tab twice, and then clicking 80 again, and then clicking Tab, and then clicking Enter. I had that all moved into a hotkey. I basically scripted it so that I can just click a couple of buttons and it will do it for me, because I was doing it so many times a day that it was actually hurting my wrist a bit. So yeah, it's all about innovating, I guess.
top of the cruise and flood.
So I've kind of forgotten where I was, but I'm going to have him to begin with leaning forward. Again, like I said, the majority of what I do is just having people
Top of the
leaning in different directions. So he's going to lean forward. By the time he gets up here, I think I want him to be leaning back, actually. So we'll have body bent over here like this, and then by the time he's up here, actually we're going to have him lean back, and then by the time he talks he's going to be back in a neutral pose. So we'll have him be forward, move back, and then kind of jut back to where he should be, and that's just with the body. We'll make that a bit more extreme, actually, I think. Like so. And then again, the movement's not quite right, so we'll just move everything back to 80. And then that works a little bit better. The arms don't really want to be out until he's in that neutral position, so line that up. So and yeah, you can stretch the joints as well, so it's kind of nice to add that rubber movement to the arms and add the kind of stretch when necessary. That doesn't look right at all. It's probably because I'm on the wrong arm. That's why. Lovely. Right. So we'll just undo all of that so we go back to the correct shape. Will we? No. We'll go back to where we were, and then by the time it comes out here, we'll just change it back to where it was. Like so.
top of the cruise. Top of the cruise and
Want him to kind of
top of
lean into each one, I think. So if we
the top of the cruise.
lean him over here for Tom of the Cruise, who I guess is now decidedly going to be over on this side, just because it feels more fluid through the movement.
Top of the cruise and
Yeah, no, I don't actually like the way that moves at the minute, so I'm going to move him like that. And like I said earlier, this is without a doubt going to turn out to be a process where I realise that when I'm trying to talk at the same time, I cannot animate. So
top
we'll
of the
see.
cruise and the blunt.
We'll see if this works.
Top of the cruise. Top of the cruise.
Yeah, because he's jutting at the minute, which he shouldn't be doing. So we put that there.
Top of the cruise and top of the cruise and
Yeah, I think a lot simpler.
top of the cruise and cruise
Cruise.
and top of the cruise and
Cool, and then he will lean the other way for Emily Blunt.
top of the cruise and the blunt.
Lovely. We'll have him lean his head like that.
Top of the cruise and the blunt. Top of the cruise and the top of the cruise and the blunt.
So what we want really is for his face to kind of move as well as he's
Stop it.
doing this. So we're going to have, luckily we've not changed anything with the face yet. I did say I was going to have him breathe kind of up.
Top of the cruise.
Yeah, I'm going to have his face move up as he's breathing in, just 'cause I think that kind of adds to it as well. So we'll have the face move up, the hair move up as well. You can already see that it's kind of overlapping the back of his head there. So actually we'll leave that there, and instead we will have it move down to begin with. And that is just kind of cheating the process, but still does the job. So his head's moving back up that way. The ears, the back of the head, and the other ear goes down a little bit, probably more on the ears actually than the hair. And then you can see that his beard's kind of wrong now because it's a little bit lower than his mustache, and if the mustache wasn't there, you could see that his mouth is never normally that close to the top of his beard. So we will, and this is a specific issue or a specific challenge with Nathan, but we're going to have to cycle through all the different beards that he has and different shapes that they're at to make sure that we find one that works. Not a fan of that one. Right, not a fan of any of those. Oh yeah, you can actually see when I first made Nathan, he had a kind of round, poofy cloud beard as well, just as a fun little insight, but opted for a bit more of a scraggly one instead. So it was 20, so it's this one. We're going to make a new beard shape, so we just added a new drawing there. We're going to use the white cursor. All of these different points are different, I don't know what you'd call them, but different connection points that you can move essentially. With all of them like that, I'm just going to move them up as simply as that. The beard is a very easy one to do, I say, but you can see the highlight at the top of his beard disappeared actually, because it was a little bit too close to the top. So we're just going to move that out and then try again. If it's not perfect, it's not the end of the world, to be perfectly honest with the beard, but it's always worth keeping an eye on it. There we go. So a little bit higher, a little bit nicer. And then what you do to have it move from one to the other is what they call in Toon Boom morphing, because you can see that's where it was before, and then that's what it's like afterwards. Let me remove the mustache. So what you do is highlight the section you want to morph, create a morphing, and then hopefully, if it's a reasonable change of shape, it will do it for you. So because the whole body's moving, you can't see it that clearly, which is kind of, I guess, part of the point in terms of animation. You sometimes want to hide, the obvious movements of layers. You just want it to look fluid, as it were. And then again, with everything else, you can ease in and ease out of it. So that's just in the morphing tool over here. And then that way it kind of speeds in and speeds out of the movement. The rest of the face actually isn't doing that yet, so I will add the easing in there, and then lovely, nice and easy.
Top of the cruise and with a blunt.
I should ask as well, actually, whilst I've got a captive audience, the desktop audio I lowered further than my mic, so hopefully I should be kind of louder than it as I'm talking. This is a good example because the audio is obviously the Drawfee crew laughing quite loudly. Is it piercing at all? Is the audio mixing okay as far as everyone can tell?
Top of the cruise and with a blunt.
So generally when I'm streaming, do I need to turn it down a little bit to what it is at the moment? Oh, sorry. Hi, Crovis. Cool. Lovely. Fantastic. Audio is good. Okay, good. Lovely. Yeah, should be louder than it, but as long as it's not too piercing. Let me just go back through the chat, actually, because I've not looked at that in a second. Yeah, a lot of work goes into each second animation. I guess when you're doing it as often or as much as I am, it all kind of blurs into one. Like 1 week for one animation feels very, very quick. So, and I'm sure for people that work in the animation industry, a week to do a couple of minutes, I have no idea if that's very fast or very slow. Yeah, a lot of it, I guess I'm kind of narrowing it down, but Flying Raisin said that it's interesting to see when I notice stuff isn't working, that you can kind of immediately choose and kind of make a difference for the end result, and that's, again, something that I guess I probably do 1,000 times a minute and don't realise, but when it's on stream it's a bit more obvious. Of all the bits you've animated between everything, is there a certain audio that has stayed most embedded in your brain? I mean, it's cheating, but the one that I did most recently, the Mabim Bam bit of Griffin saying, "Have I read Crime and Punishment? Fuck no, it's boring. Have I read Animorphs? Yes. That has been just on a loop in my brain for the last month. Whenever it took off on TikTok, I spend too much time on TikTok, but that's fine. Thank you. I'm glad the attention to detail is going noticed. Clock in your room. Cool. Didn't know you could hear the clock, but I am glad that it adds a little bit of ASMR to the stream. I got a nice little notification from my app as well, telling me that lots of people are messaging, so thank you everyone for messaging. Is the sound clip from a stream? No, it was from... Where was the Edge of Tomorrow from? It was from the Pokey type swap one. Someone might have just answered that a little bit lower. I didn't actually... it was from the Poker swap, or the Poker type swap episode they did. And it was about halfway through. I think it was whilst Karina was drawing. Or there might be Julia, I might be talking up my ass. Anyway. By the time it goes up on a publish this Friday, I will have a link below for it. But if you want to hear the whole thing, it's the Poker type swap.
Top of the cruise and with a blunt.
Cool. So he raises his head a bit, and then we want his head to move over here when he goes to kind of hug Tom Cruise and say Tom Cruise. Luckily, the mustache is hiding at the top of the beard, so I don't need to worry too much about shifting it constantly. Yeah, the Togenamari bit. So move his face over there. Move the hair a little bit as well. You can see it's broken at the top right there. We'll move everything else first to see kind of how broken it is. But if we move the hair back, move the ear over, and then again ease everything to see what it's going to look like. Yeah, so the break's still there. So halfway across the transition, we'll just move it to a different one. As you can see, that's something that I deal with Nathan's rig quite a lot. Actually, it might make more sense to have it shorter the entire time. Or maybe it won't. Right, we'll make a new drawing for it then. Cool, so Tom of the Cruise looking over there, and then we want him to turn to Emma de Blunt over here. I think what we're going to do actually, what I would normally do is just kind of have him lean to the left, but I think we're going to have him turn his head. So it's slightly different for that, but all we need to do is do the slight movement to begin with, rather than the whole movement. So move everything in the right direction by just a touch. So you can see he's vaguely kind of starting to move to the other side. And then we will simply swap the entire head. We'll lock those again, and then by the time we place the first bit, then it kind of saves that movement, I guess. I don't really know how to explain it, but you can see the movement's fairly fluid just by doing that, which is a nice little time saver, because I didn't know that when I first started animating, and that was a lot of time wasted.
Top of the Cruise, Emma de Blunt. Cruise, Emma de Blunt.
So I think at this point, if he's kind of center, and then we have Emily Blunt here, Tom Cruise here, I think we'll have the laughter break. We'll have the Drawfee crew and the paparazzi over here behind them. Again, this is probably a lot easier for me when I'm trying to like think of it on the spot. Earlier I said that this is going to be a red carpet event. I don't know if the same, handful of people that are watching are the same people from earlier, but that's what I'm keeping an eye on.
Cruise, Emma de Blunt.
So as soon as the laughter breaks out, we'll use the audio clip here to know when that is. We're going to move from Nathan being in the center to being in the foreground, and then we'll have the Drawfee characters back here, essentially.
Top of the Cruise, Emma de Blunt.
Well, perfect. Yeah, that makes sense, because I think it's all three of them laughing, isn't it? Cool. I'm just going to have a quick look at the chat, but I'm going to answer some last remaining bits, but I think I'm going to call this in a moment. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out. Right, let's have a look at what everyone said. I keep leaning away from the microphone as well, so sorry if I just go quiet every now and then. That's me leaning back. Do you just make notes when watching videos of good audios that would animate well, or do you come with audios that you want to animate? I have an awful habit, and if the person who makes ASMR is still here, I'm sure they will find they do the same. I have an awful habit of whenever I'm trying to enjoy something, halfway through being like, I could do that. I could also, animate this. So, yeah, a lot of the time I will be listening to Mabim or Drawfee, and I will have like kind of one eye on it and think like, could this be a good bit? Like, if there's been a big laugh, if there's been like a really good moment, I will like wait for the moment to end, and then I'll just rewind to the start of it, have a quick look on the timer and think like, was that 2 minutes? Was that about 2 minutes? Was that, you know, a little bit too long? Could I cut that down? It's one of these where, like I say, I'm doing these, they take about a week to do, but then I'm publishing every 2 weeks because every other week I've got something else that I'm working on. So it's one of these where every couple of weeks, if I've got nothing kind of nothing ready to animate, and there's nothing that's massively inspired me from the couple of posts where people are keeping me constantly updated with good things to animate from like Patreon or that one particular thread on YouTube, then I will, you know, listen to the latest episode of Drawfee or listen to the latest episode of my Bim Bam and just have one ear out and just, I'll usually go on a walk, to be honest, and just be like, right, this is a good moment, write it down on a notes app, and then kind of come back to it later. So I've got to see Nathan's Fringe by itself in a drawing box. Makes me think of Amity from Owl House. Yeah, I mean, I think Owl House is Toon Boom as well, so that might be an element of it to that as well. Oh, it does look a bit like Amity's, actually, yeah. Yeah, no, I see that. I love Owl House. I absolutely love Owl House. Specific reference, yeah. How'd I get so good at lip syncing? Yeah, it's gotta just be practice at this point. It's one of these where from the very start, when I very first started animating, it's something I put a load of detail into because it's something I felt, you know, added a lot of polish. I think that's something as well, just in general, that I've always tried to do. I've always tried to add polish with less worry about, it sounds bad, but I worry less about kind of big movements and big kind of action scenes, and instead have like kind of subtle visual jokes and then just adding a lot of polish to it, which, you know, I think is, it's not funnier, but it's certainly kind of, like I say, it just adds a bit of polish and people seem to like it, so I'm quite happy with that. In terms of how to get good at it, just keep trying, just keep doing it. Start off by you know, trying to be really specific about it, and then from there it's just kind of getting quicker and quicker more than anything. I was probably as good as I am now when I first started, but I wasn't quick, and that's the difference, I guess, that now I can do, you know, the same job, but I can do it in, you know, a couple of minutes when I'm not streaming at the same time. Cool. Lovely. Well, thank you everyone for the thank yous. Playback boy animated so far. Yeah, go on, and I'll quickly play what I've done so far. So we'll again go back to the media player, and then I think my little guy in the bottom right should be vibing at the minute. But so far, and this is a nice little way of ending the stream.
My brain was like, I know that's a Pokemon, but I don't know which one it is.
It's one of the Pikachus.
That name describes nothing to me.
It's round Pikachu, but not quite as round Pikachu as Togedemaru.
That's
right. The
That's
roundest
the
Pikachu.
roundest.
Oh.
I really like that movie.
Yeah.
But I found the
Go
sci-fi
ahead.
part a little confusing. It's the one with Tom Cruise.
Are you making an Edge of Tomorrow joke?
Yeah.
Out of Togedemaru?
It's a reach, but okay.
The way that Nathan said it, I had the same beat says Edge of Tomorrow.
Right.
Hey kids, let's go see Togedemaru. The Tom de Cruise and the Togedemaru.
Tom de Cruise.
Tom de Cruise.
Dad, stop.
Dad, you're being weird
Just
again.
Just say the title of the movie right, or
Stop it to
don't.
what? What did you mean?
Cool. And then yeah, I've not rendered what I've done today, but yeah, I mean that's more or less where we're at anyway. Yeah, thank you everyone for hanging out, and I will let you all know. No, I did not do all of that today. I did that. Wait, hold on. Is it Monday? Oh, it is Monday. I did it in 2 days. Sorry. Yeah, no, I did all of that in a couple of days. And then the stuff that wasn't in that render I've done today, which was an extra, I think an extra 300 frames. so far. But yeah, nice to hang out with everyone. I'll do one of these again soon. If I do another one this week, it will probably be one without me talking over it. And if anyone just wants to hang out and just watch me animate, then let me know. I'll probably put some kind of poll up on either YouTube or Twitter or something. But yeah, cool. Right, look forward to doing this again. Thanks, everyone. Oh wait, hold on, I've got an overlay for this. Cool. Bye.